big thing we haven't talked about yet is backlinks. So we kind of talked about it, but um, getting a link to your website and to particular pages of your website, especially services that you feel strongly about. Backlinks, I'll get into this question in a second, but backlinks, I always say, like, think of you walk into a room and there's 100 people and you say, who here is a social media specialist? And 95 people point to you, and 2 people point to me, and 2 people point to Jessica. Google's going to say, I trust that Ashley is the social media specialist by way of sort of social proof or crowd think. There's different words. So that's super important. Once you start to get a successful website, you'll notice that people will start to link to you on their own. It happens with our SEO clients, because then you become an authority. And when your website is linking to other authority websites, it makes you look good in the eyes of Google, because it makes you look like you actually want to help the reader. And remember, always go back to, what does Google want? Google always wants to help the searcher. So even if on your own website, something that some people overlook is having resources that might be off your website. I'm not saying you link to competitors. If you're licensed, maybe you link to the state board of licensure, or if you have a certain insurance, you might link to a copy of your certificate, or maybe to Wikipedia or Instagram or whatever. I think showing in addition that you say you're the authority, you're also helping people find additional resources. I think that's one thing I think that was overlooked.
I think kind of returning back to the on-page things you can do when it comes to keywords as opposed to just stuffing them. I will start by saying you should definitely do keyword research and you should optimize your website for keywords, but also keep in mind that those things change, like human nature changes, search volume changes. So please don't ever approach SEO as like a one and done. And I think a lot of people think we do some keyword research, we throw some keywords on the website, and now our SEO should be just perfect. It's an ever evolving thing. The Google algorithms change, the way people search changes. As Dale mentioned, more people are turning to like voice to text to search for things. So consider that when you're kind of doing your keyword research, that these things are very subject to change. But as far as on-page things, you should be optimizing your headers, you know, properly tagging them as headers so Google knows, probably using keywords there, using them in your title tags, and making sure that those are all optimized. Those are kind of, when you search for a website and it gives you those other pages, you want to make sure that those are appropriate and labeled and described correctly. You also want to be using alt text on your images and things like that so that Google knows what the pictures are, and you can feel free to kind of put them in there. So as opposed to just stuffing, 14 different keywords on your homepage, there's a lot of things you can do to teach Google about what it is that you're doing, focusing on keywords without kind of shoving them in anyone's face too much.